What is going on, guys? We are live, and this is the Bench Live. And I'm going to invite my friend and a good watchmaker, excellent watchmaker, good friend of mine. Sorry, guys, this is going to be weird for the first time, but we're going to work our way through it. So, Colin, I'm bringing you in. Are you ready? Because here it goes. Colin, how you doing, buddy?
I'm ready. This is not our first rodeo, man. We've done a few of these.
No, this isn't our first rodeo, man. I know it's not the first rodeo. Yeah, I know, but it's. I haven't done this in a while, and this is like my platform now. We're actually going to do this. We're doing it live. Like, guys, thank you for joining me. This is the Dial 24, and this is a new like little thing that we got going on called the Bench Live. We got different cameras, we got different angles here. Check this out. We're going to go over here to the bench. This is what I'm working on here. You can see some hand stuff, and he can go over here and be talking. I've got the bench 2 where I enlarge this and we actually go in. Like, I'm really going to do this for you guys. So, Colin, how are you, buddy?
I have a question before we get going because people are going to want to ask questions. And I'm just bringing up the chat here to make sure that people can join. And I'm just looking here to make sure I'm in the studio here. And I just want to make sure that when people want to ask questions, they can. I think I'm okay. But right now, it's just got studio chat. I just want to make sure. Oh, wait, I got a comment here. Okay, I think we're good. Great. Okay, great. Okay, so I think I want to be able to respond if I can.
Can you respond? Yeah, so he's going to help me moderate this, guys, and we're just going to
try to do our best. You might have to give me permission to do it. I don't know.
Can you not comment?
I don't think we can respond right now. It could be 100% user error on my part.
Do you see where it says comments?
Yeah, I'm going to do it. Yeah, I do.
And post a comment down there in the bottom.
I am trying to do that. You know what? You get things going, and I'm going to make sure that I'm going to get this set up.
So I just posted a comment. Hi, guys. Did that post?
I got. Yeah, I got it.
All right. So, guys, we're going to get into this. Colin's going to hang out with us. And what we're going to do, we've got a couple of things going on. This first episode is really going to be an introduction to what the Bench Live is going to be and what the Dial 24 was really about. But we're also going to be building a watch. Let me get some more light on that for you guys. We are building this up today. And the reason we are building this up today is because of this channel and everything that we're doing. We want to go ahead and give back to you guys. So this is actually a giveaway watch. But in order to win this giveaway watch, you need to do a few things. On this channel, there is a registration form. Just go ahead and fill that out. It's I think I named it the Dial 24 giveaway, and then you need to go ahead and follow Hurst. I'm a little nervous, guys. You believe that? This guy right here, Mr. Talks a Lot, is super nervous right now. But then you need to go ahead and head on over to Hurst Co. On Instagram. Make sure you're following there, and then make sure you're following the Dial 24. Like, subscribe, do all the stuff that you're supposed to do. Anyways, Colin, how are you?
I'm good.
I'm
good. I'm excited to see you put all this together. I'm backing you up right here.
So I got a question for you. I've been told that I shouldn't be using finger cuts on both hands. Is this true?
Well, you know what? I took some training from a watchmaker a while back, and he always said, when you do something that maybe isn't like the way everyone does it, he says, it's not wrong. It's just unconventional, right? So I personally have, because I'm usually holding whatever tweezers or tools in my right hand. And in my left hand, like here, I usually have finger cots on my thumb and index and middle finger.
See that, guys? Nice tweezers. Yeah.
There are some times where if it's unusual or I'm nipping and I'm worried about directly touching any parts, I will also put finger cots on these hands as well. But 90% of the time, I only have them on my left hand. It's simply unconventional. It's not wrong, right?
It's not just right. I just know I use both hands, and I like to be able to use both hands. I'm getting to the point now. How long I've been working on watches now? For about 2 years, if I'm not mistaken. That sounds what we're getting at. I'm just getting to the point now where I'm learning that everything I do, guys, here, let me show you. Let me switch this up real quick. These little things right here, these tweezers. There we go. See, I got a real camera on here with focus and everything. these tweezers, these are Dumont tweezers. These have a really nice soft touch, and I've gotten really used to just basically using this tool for everything, which leaves this hand quite exposed. Now, Colin, I'm just realizing that you're not on here. Let's go ahead and do that.
Because, okay.
All right, guys.
It's
so
really
we're working.
Build.
All right, guys. So check this out. I'm using this little platform. Matter of fact, let's remove you from here, and I'm going to go back to Phil and Colin tab. This is where we're both up. This is a platform called StreamYard. In case you guys haven't used it, it's how we're both able to be on screen. I got the cool background. We've got this other cool screen with the bench and all this going on. Matter of fact, let's keep it like this. Back to the Philip and Colin. But we're still figuring this out, and we're doing it for you guys. Going to work our way through it. We got a couple of back end things to figure out, but let's go ahead and dive right into this watch. What we're going to be building today, Colin, chime in if you need to, because I'm going to have to go head down and like really focus here, and I'm going to have to like stop talking and nervous.
Pull some things out for a minute so you can do it. I have a couple of things that I want to say. Number one, we have Kale saying hello in the chat, so I just want to say that somebody said hey, chimed in, whatever. And also about tweezers, you've got those tweezers you like. I have, and they're not a great pair of brass tweezers. They're not fancy, but they're suited to my hand, and now I like them. And there are fancier ones, and people need to realize that when you find something that works for you, you need to like latch onto it, and it's completely fine, right? So,
want to see something funny? Tonight, you guys are going to see me use some really unfancy tweezers, and I absolutely swear by these tweezers when I'm doing two things in particular. A cheap set of plastic tweezers from AliExpress, man. They came in like a 50-pack. But they've got a nice little broad tip on them. And I use these only when I'm doing hands because I found them to be, one, they've got a nice light touch to them, but I'm not going to mar up. And I know they're soft enough to where I'm not going to scratch any of the metals or anything like that. And if I happen to accidentally tap the dial or something like that, I'm not going to accidentally scratch the dial. So plastic tweezers it is. But I know brass tweezers. Why do we use brass tweezers? Go ahead and let these people know.
I wouldn't use them on hands, but
no, absolutely. But why do we use brass tweezers?
I believe that on most internal components side of watch, you should be using brass tweezers 90% of the time because all of those components are either regular steel or they're chrome-plated brass. And if you use a steel on steel, you're going to mark the components inside. Now, you've got your metallurgy there. The alternative is, and they sit aside in their own thing, is the Bergeron 6571-BUR-3. And those are like the holy grail boxwood. That's what I use when I'm going to use delicate hands. Boxwood. Yeah, that's right. So they're wooden tipped.
There is the AliExpress super cheap, get them plastic tip. No, not nearly as cool, guys. Not nearly as cool, I promise. But these I barely use these.
Bill, a fraction of the price, a fraction.
Yeah.
So you're good.
How much? Not to scare anybody off from the hobby or anything like that. But how much were the Bergeons?
They're like they're at $250.
Yeah, these weren't cheap. These weren't cheap. The Dumonts weren't too cheap either, but they're definitely not the Bergeons. Anyways, guys.
People, so they know, and now, Grant, you have to think, I'm Canadian, right? So
I was about to say, you guys pick up
half the price. So it's like 30% difference. Anyway, is that in Canadian dollars, you typically pay about $50-ish for a pro level run-of-the-mill set of tweezers. Like that's $50 is a good. You can pay a little bit less or a little bit more in Canadian dollars. And if you're trying to convert to American, it's like 30% less than that. So if you're thinking like $38-ish, that's probably the average.
All right, real quick, check this out. I'm gonna go all YouTube on you guys. Guys, right now, stop what you're doing. Like and subscribe. It really helps out the algorithm. Hold on. You ready? Have you subscribed yet?
No. Todd in the chat just said hi, so welcome to Todd. And Todd,
hey, Todd. By the way, that's my cousin. That's my cousin Todd.
Okay, then you got some leeway.
Yeah. All right, guys. I'm gonna stop fooling around. Colin, I'm gonna have you hang out with the group and everything like that. If you see something pop up in the chat, go ahead and answer it verbally because we know you can't type right now. In chat, give him a little bit of time. There's a slight delay in the YouTube, so you probably see about what we say about 3 seconds later. But yeah, let's go ahead and dive into this. I need to focus because we're trying to make this. I can build one of these in about 35, 45 minutes if I'm fully concentrated. Right now, this show is reaching about an hour long if I shut up right now. So
yeah, get to it, Phil. We got to show focus.
Right.
So here,
Right,
so
guys.
while you're getting set up there for a moment, I recently had a conversation with somebody about how they approach the bench. And it sounds a little bit zen, but you really have to come to whatever you're doing, either build or repair, with a very calm mindset. Patience is always key. And sometimes, even for myself, there's been repair situations, and on my YouTube channel, people say, "Oh, like this isn't working," whatever. And I'm like, if you can, put it away and bring it out tomorrow. And I can't tell you how many times the next day came with a fresh set of eyes, and it was no problem. And I did whatever it was in 10 seconds, literally 10 seconds. And
you know how many times I put a movement away and said, you know what, I'm not going to mess with this hairspring before I send it flying across the room. Let me go home. I'm not hairspring. I'm sorry, a click spring. Let me go home and just clear my head for a second, woo-saw the heck out of an evening, and then come back fresh-minded. But yeah, I've had to do that numerous times.
You know what? So you're not focusing.
I know. Somebody just thanks, Todd. Todd is my cousin. He knows I have ADD, guys. I've got a really bad case of ADD. Unless I'm doing this. So as soon as I get focused, if I forget about you guys, I apologize. I'm really in this. But I also want to say, who was it? Kale asked for the specs on what we're building. So this here, okay, this is an homage. If anybody knows this case, you will know exactly what this build is. But the reason that this is a little bit newer, if you notice, there is steel around the outside of this ceramic bezel, which makes this homage the new version of this homage, the new reference, but it's not going to call it's only going to be, it's not an automatic. We're not doing an automatic. What we are doing is a VK63 Mecha Quartz. Now, this movement is a beast. It's a tank. I love it. It's a quartz, but it's got a mechanical chronograph kind of a function that works with it. So you can get the full chronograph function. You have a 24-hour dial on the subdial. You have a minute on the subdial. And you also have your seconds on the subdial, as well as your chronograph sweeping hand. It's beautiful with the snapback. Today, we're going to build that up. The dial we're using is this dial. I've been all over the place with what dial I wanted to use. There's a couple of different dials. Matter of fact, wrist check. What are you wearing right now?
Oh, me. Oh. Yeah. So I'm wearing the Tudor steel and gold.
Oh, of course you are. That's a beautiful watch.
Yeah, Tudor Black Bay. Bought this one when it first released, when Tudor was really trying to make their mark.
Another thing, guys, I don't know how you all do this and do it well, and I can't. But here, this is what I'm wearing today, guys. I built this one up a few days ago. You could probably go ahead and back in the channel and check out the video of the build, but it is a VK63. Another version of this case. This bracelet is actually from the factory. It's the same bracelet that is going on the Sebring 75 from Hurst Co. In case you guys don't know, we are the official timepiece of the Porsche Sprint Challenge North America, West, and Endurance. And we are going to be dropping that piece here very shortly. In case you guys see some of the renderings, some of the actual photos that have been coming in. It's been a slow burn. This is the first time we're doing it, and I think it's going pretty well. But right now, I'm going to dive into this. Colin, you hang out with the people.
I'm good.
You hang out with Colin.
As usual. I have diagrams already. If anyone's seen our stuff before, we have diagrams.
Oh, you got diagrams. All right.
Phil, start building a watch.
All right, here we go, guys. Hold on, guys. Check this out. I'm going to bring up the bench cam. Ready? And boom, nice. Bench cam.
Okay, there you go. Get it out there.
All right, guys. I'm going to shut up. Colin, do your thing.
Next time, we got to do a vote, Phil, on what dial you should put in. Let everybody have a chance. But while you're getting things up there,
I think that would be a great idea, actually.
We were just talking about tweezers, and people ask me all the time, like, okay, if I buy one set of tweezers, what do I buy? If I buy 2 or 3 sets of tweezers, what do I buy? And as I already mentioned that I'm a big fan of brass tweezers, but my ultimate 4-piece would be a regular heavy set of steel tweezers, a set of brass tweezers. So the steel would be for strength. With those, you could place and remove like a cannon pinion or whatever. And then on the inside of components watch, I would do a brass set. And then similar to what Phil had up earlier, a fine tip if you were doing any like bounce spring, or we're trying to get into the movement where we've got some clearance issues. And then I would do some alternate type, which might be, here's my set of plastic tipped tweezers here that I would potentially use to do hands, or some other type of tweezer that would be soft enough that you wouldn't damage anything that would be very soft, like a set of hands. So, but if you were just going to do one, and this happens, if you're just starting out, you're like a regular set of like regular profiled, and there's a bunch of profiles, like a number 1 or a number 2 profile steel tweezer. That's going to get you going and get the job done. So I think that me and Phil are aligned on this, where it's like, if you're interested, don't let the price tag and think, oh, I have to invest a lot of money to start, like put you off from doing it, you know?
Can I be quite frank with you guys?
Pardon me?
Can I be quite frank with everybody? Here, check this out.
I think, Phil, you're gonna be frank whether we all like it or not.
Whether you guys like it or not, I'm gonna tell you all what I'm thinking. Check this out. When I first started this, I started this with a very similar build to this. Right before Olga and I went to a circuit of the Americas to do some Formula One photography, I decided I want to build up this piece. This is also a VK63 piece.
Put it down on the bench cam.
There we go, bench cam. Yeah, I forgot I have this. So this is a VK63. I built this, and I knew I liked this style watch, if everybody recognizes it, but I also like the fact that it had a panda on it. And if anybody knows, that's where the name Time Panda came from, was because of this watch and because of the Daytona. I love the panda style watches. I love chronographs. So we started Time Panda. But I say that to say this. I started this literally with a $15 set of tools from AliExpress when I started doing this, man. Just that little packet of tools that you can buy. I forget where they are, but
yeah, it's better to start with something than not at all. Like, you know,
and then you realize the tools that you need and you want to replace, and you use this a lot. Okay, I'm going to use this a lot. Let me invest in a better tool. Let me get something that's a little bit more professional. And I don't use this. I don't need to buy that. So anyways, you do your thing. I'm going to get back into this.
All right. Well, Kale, it's good because Kale just asked a question. He asked me, what kind of watches do you enjoy to wear? Chronos, dive, vintage, Swiss, Japanese, etc. And I'm a little bit all over the place. I like a great diver. For day to day, I've moved away from chronos, but my eyes have changed. I've got older. So a dive watch is really easy if I'm like timing steaks on the barbecue, where I would originally do that with the chronograph. Now I just find it so easy with the rotating bezel. And a lot of things that I do in everyday life, you time by the minute instead of by the second anyway. And so I did have some vintage chronographs. Like, for example, I had a 1970 6139 with a blue dial, but I ended up selling it. I wasn't wearing it. I'm a big fan of Seiko. They're vertically integrated. They've got their own history. So I like that. I still have a bunch of Seikos in my collection. I have one vintage Seiko that's left from 1971. But I did do at some point a little bit of a purge. And then I do like a good dress watch. Like I do have a Rolex Datejust 41 with the dark rhodium dial. I do like those too. So it's a bit of a mixed bag, in terms of what I like. But like any watch person, like I like a lot of different watches, and I still have a Seiko Mecha Quartz that I bought, almost 20 years ago, that I still wear all the time and love it.
I'm telling you, man, Mecha Quartz is a tank of a movement.
It's great, yeah.
The Seiko VK or the TMI, guys, we should real quick. TMI, they're the ones that make the Seiko movement. TMI does not mean it is a Seiko. TMI means that it is the maker of a Seiko movement. Continue.
Right. Yeah. I think that watch, that chrono that I still have, I think it's the 7S. No, it's not the 17. No, I don't know the reference. I'm not geeking out properly. But anyway, the reference on that is the SNA 525, and Seiko made like an executive whatever. So it is a Seiko Mecha Quartz, but it actually has a sapphire crystal in it. And as a result, it's held up really, really well. Yeah, love it.
Nice. Sapphire crystal, guys, when he refers to sapphire crystal, in case you're new here, he's talking about the crystal on the lens being sapphire. It's a little bit more resistant to scratching, like as opposed to an acrylic or a mineral glass or something like this. So, yeah, it holds up really well. In case anybody's wondering what I'm doing, we'll get into the final closing of the case, but I use this little Bourgeon ball It's a little rubber ball. It's got a little bit of friction, a little bit of mew, so that you can take that case back off. But also, what I'm doing, finger cuts. I'm gonna go ahead and stretch these out and get these on my finger. Oh yeah, see,
The
guys,
classic 8-ball, and you've got your case cushion out there. I've got one sitting here.
Let me guess, yours is a Bergeron, right?
You know what? This is not. Although I have just out of reach. I have the Bergeron version. I sell them on the store.
Please tell me that's AliExpress.
What's that? I don't know what this is. You know what? Like I've done this for a long time. So some of these, if it just works, it works, right? So I'm just like, oh, okay.
It works.
You know? But I happen to like, because I have a thing on the bench, and it's the way you hold your hands and the way you sit. Storing energy is bad, right? Because when you store energy, things go flying. So as for a case cushion, I actually use this rubber block from Bergeron. This is not super expensive. Like this is, sometimes on podcasts they do like, what's the best thing under $50 you've bought in the last 2 years that made a difference in your life? And this is the Bergeron 30097-R, and it's soft enough for one thing, but it's solid. So if you're taking like the bracelet off and you want a firm surface and you don't want any spring in it, and I don't like the springy feeling, and I'm taking the end link out of a bracelet off the watch case, I love this. This is like this is front and center before that case cushion is. But I mean, it is all preference as always.
Nice, dude. All right, well, so right now I'm using that cushion, and I think so. I've noticed that sometimes when I'm putting down hands, or if I'm pushing on something, or if I'm screwing something down, if it's on a cushion, you can see it kind of push in, and it'll even throw the angle of the head off to the screwdriver. So I've learned to make sure if I'm doing any kind of screwing anything, don't work from here, work from my movement holder, which is solid and flat and stable.
Right.
All right, guys, I'm going to shut up and get back to work. I promise.
Well, then your alternate, go do some work. Then your alternate is to look at one of these blogs. Go to watchoffthecuff.com, Phil, and buy one.
Yes. We're going to be talking very soon about stuff like this. By the way, guys, if you are interested in watchmaking, or if you need some watchmaking tools or anything like this, Colin here actually has his own brand where he's a supplier for.
Yeah, I'm an authorized distributor for Horatec and Bergeron, and sell Mobius lubricants, all this stuff. So I'm based in Canada, but I ship all over the world. So US is no problem. We ship to US every day. So if you're in the US, for example, and you're like, where am I going to get this stuff? Or I'm trying to figure out where to find it, or you're inspired today by looking at the stuff that Phil's doing, like just reach out, and I'm happy to help in any way. Speaking, you were talking about movement holders there earlier. So there's a couple of different versions. Mostly you can flip them over. There's different profiles in terms of the size of the movement here. And one of the classic ones, speaking about Bergeron, is the 4040. That's like almost the industry standard version. But as usual, Phil, I don't know where I got this movement holder from. It's not fancy, but you know what? I found that it goes quite small. And when I was doing, restoration on like 1940s Hamilton ladies watches, this was perfect for those mechanical movements. Just perfect. So anyway, it's whatever works for you.
All right, guys. So my next step is I've got to go ahead and put this dial on the movement. I feel naked without this hand.
You do it. You put them on. Do it.
All right, here we go, guys. All right, guys. I can do this without touching anything important. Right now, I'm just touching plastic. I'm not doing anything. We'll be okay.
Take a minute and do it. I got, as always, I have no end of things that I can talk about. So you're talking about the dial.
I love that about you, Colin. Thank you for having a plethora of stuff to talk about.
A dial, what they call a dial plate or a dial holder. So on the back of that dial, there's going to be a couple of pins. And depending on what you get, I'm just pulling up my old one from Bergeron here. There could be a pair, like there's two pairs on each side, and you have to remove one of them and then file down the feet, depending on where the date window is on the movement. But there's a dial plate. So it's got all these holes in it. So what you can do is you can put the dial down, the feet will fit through, and you have a solid surface to set indices or remove or clean, and you don't have to worry about bending those feet there. So there's another like sort of thing, gadget gizmo that people have to make sure when you're working on a dial before you attach it to a movement. in terms of what you're capable of doing in terms of not breaking it. And we had a couple of things. Carol says hello, so hello to Carol. And then
that's my mom. Hi, Mom.
Nice.
Got a mom joins the chat.
Okay, we got another one from Kel. So what do you recommend to get tight bars on links? Like I have an FC that the pins are so damn hard to get out. What lubricant would to loosen it up?
I imagine he's talking about push at that point, or is he actually talking about screw down? Let us know in the chat.
Kale, let us know if you were on tight bars on links. I don't know. It depends on like if they won't bend, or you're trying to remove like a pin or friction pin out of it. Yeah, like let us know what that is, and we'll try to solve that problem for you. Yeah. So I can see with your puffer there. I know that Phil has like a tumultuous relationship with Rotico, so he's probably going to try not to use too much Rotico on that thing. There is Rotico Premium on top of that. So, so you can do two versions, but sometimes you have to be careful picking up parts with Rotico because they can end up slightly marking or leaving a film. But there is a fancier version that is supposed to be better. And that's the thing. If you do by mistake with your bare hands touch an internal part, Rotico is great for removing that oil.
The oil from it, yes, correct.
If you were to take your thumb and put it on the back of that movement, close it up, and come back 2 years later, your fingerprint would be permanently etched into that metal. It would never go away. It gets etched right into it. So it is really, and I know Phil's really great about trying to keep everything clean. You know, the whole clean, organized, like the whole thing is like, it's super important in terms of making sure your build's okay when it's done.
And super annoying too.
Me and Phil were talking the other day, and I was talking about the advantages of UV light. So, for example, if he's cleaning the dial right now, and you can do the same thing for crystals, you can use a UV light, and then it will illuminate any little bit that's on the dial that you can't see readily through your loop. It's a great final check, and it's a must. I consider it a must check for final assembly for a crystal, because you're going to do it and you're going to visually see it. And it just seems like what happens is that it doesn't matter how well you clean the inside of that crystal and you've done the dial and everything, you case it and you do a final inspection, and there always seems to be one speck. It doesn't seem to matter. I just basically build that into my estimated time because I know that I'm going to put it all together, and then I'm going to find it, and I'm going to take it apart and then get rid of that one speck, and then usually I'm good to go.
All right, Colin, I got a question for you.
Yeah, hit me. You
know this stuff, right?
Yes.
Am I weird because I save every piece that I get when I get a dial? I have a whole stack of it, and I save everyone.
Weird is, I don't know. Weird's a relative term. Weird's a relative term. But it is, listen, like I try to, when people come to my shop, like they're like, oh, this seems so organized, but it is a constant battle about trying to, you don't want to like throw anything out. Like even with like old watch parts, you're like, because the problem with some of these watch parts, or if you have a movement where it's toast, but there's other things that are still good, you're like, what happens if someone comes a month from now and I need that bridge, or I need this really odd screw, and you don't want to do it. The problem is with that stuff is that it's worthless until you need it. And then
the second you need it, it's priceless, man. God. I have a couple of click springs that I've had from other builds that I've been able to use on other things that I've worked perfect. I'm like, I didn't throw this out for a reason.
Okay, push pin. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so I'm thinking for Kale here, he's got like a cotter pin style where it's like a folded over piece of metal and there's a bump on either side. It's granted, like I'm spoiled. I have like the Bergeron 7250. So I literally put it, it's like a side vise and presses them in and out.
You know what this is starting to be like, bro? This is starting to be like high-end versus beginner, because this is what I use. Check it out. This is a little push pinner thingy that I slip in there. Hey man, it gets the job done. I don't want
to know. Anyway, Kale, lubricant might help. They might be binding up a little bit in there a little bit. It is disconcerting when you have like a regular bracelet block and you've got your pin driver and your hammer, and you're just like, you're going on this thing, going to town, trying to get it out, I don't think that's bad advice. Like, to put a little bit of lubricant on it if you think that's gonna, help. I think that's, again, we're just trying to solve problems. And if there's a burr either inside or out, and I have had in my own shop bracelets come in that are like really like unusually difficult to get the cotter pin style bracelets out. So you know what? I think that's like perfectly good advice in terms of trying to do it. And then at some point you can look at doing like, again, I did it commercially, so it's a little bit different, but there's some options. And sometimes we jury ring things as well. Like I have another like kind of like horizontal press from Horatech as well. I might as well, since we're talking, I might as well get it. And then I've used this before I had the 7250. I used this from Horatech as well. And then on this side, you can fit this. I usually use this. Right now it's got blades in there for taking out really like, difficult snapback cases. But this comes out and there's a pin driver attachment that goes in here, and I can fit it with a number of pins, which are down here from quite large to very, very, very small. And then again, it's just a horizontal vise. I can just simply close that and then pop out whatever I need to. But it's potentially overkill.
All right, guys. So real quick, what I'm doing now is I'm actually, installing the hands. Probably not the best angle, so I'm just go ahead and switch this back. But right now I've got to go ahead and start installing these hands. The first hands that we're going to do are the small little chronograph hands. Now, typically what we would do on this watch would be spin it to make sure it is at 12 o'clock. And we still do that, but there's no real reason to, because there's no date window on here. But we still want to make sure that we are making sure that the gears are where they're supposed to be when things happen, because if you actually, danger zone reasons, that's a whole nother episode. We'll get there. But for right now, that's a whole nother episode. We'll get there. But for right now, we really don't need to worry about it. But what we do need to do, is we do make sure that our hand, because on a VK63 dial, let me go ahead and show you right here. On the VK63 dial, in case you see this little dial right here, that one is a 24-hour dial. So as this, go ahead and set it back normal. So as this movement goes through its motion, it's actually this right dial, the 3 o'clock sub dial, is actually going to track a full 24 hours to do one whole rotation. The bottom hand, that is your counting second hand. And then the 9 o'clock sub dial, that's the one that's actually counting the minutes when you're using the actual chronograph. We're not going to get into how to use a chronograph or how to use a tachymeter. There's a whole nother science and mathematical equation on how to do all that. But that's what that little graph around the outside, or scale around the outside, is actually for. It's for using that. But right now, we're just going to go ahead and get these small subdial hands on, and then set this first hand, which tracks 24 hours. We're going to set that at exactly dial north, which is the 24-hour location. So we know when we set down the hour hand, as long as both of those hands are dial north, we know that both are sitting at 12 o'clock and or AM or PM. So,
and there's going to be no adjustment after. Those are going to be mechanically linked to one another, which on the other subdials, in terms of the chronograph, there is a function where, you can adjust the other hands independently. One of the reasons is if the chronograph is running when the battery wears out, the chip loses the positional data of where they are. And there's a fairly simple crown position and pusher operation that you can reset those things. But in this case, Phil is exactly right. The 24-hour subdial and the hour marker on the main dial, like, they have to be synchronized, because you can't fix those later. If they were out of sync with each other, you would have to like remove one or both hands and then reset them to do it. So while he's doing the second hand, I have a diagram. And I have.
Oh, you do. Real quick, guys. Real quick, hold on. Diagram time. I love you. Real quick, guys. Before we dive into the diagram, you may notice that I just removed that hand. I noticed a little smudge on there. Some residue from the factory. Something happened. Residue from being in the case. So what I'm going to do before we move on cleanliness. I'm making sure that each one of these hands is nice and polished and cleaned off. So I'm going to go ahead and clean off that hand real quick. All right, move forward. I just wanted to be like, why
so
did
now
you
you're
move that
yeah.
hand?
I didn't even. I thought about printing it up, but I thought I'd just keep it old school and just.
Dude, I love your hand drawn diagrams.
So let's talk about setting hands. So now the subdial is going to be very small. Usually the pin on that subdial on a Mecha quartz is going to be about 0.2 millimeters. So be gentle. On a regular Mecha quartz, like an inexpensive one, like from a repair shop point of view, if I was going to buy a movement into repair, I would buy 2 movements. The movement himself, this is not the case for what Phil's doing, but for a cheap one, I would buy 2 movements, knowing that if I had to reset the second hand too many times, I would break off the second hand post, and I would just buy 2 movements. And if I didn't break it, great. And if I did, I had a backup. But anyway, so here is kind of the side diagram outside of the subdials about what that looks like in terms of how it sits. So the hour wheel comes up to here. That's what this is here. And that hour is going to sit here, second, a minute, and then second. So he is going to bring out his dial setting tools. And what happens is the first one he's going to do is there's going to be a gap in it that's big enough to pass both the second, because it's just a pin, and the minute wheel, but be not wide enough to go any further than the top of the hour wheel. And then from here, he can press on the hand. He can even move it back and forth to make sure that he's checking parallel, which I'm sure he's going to do. Once he gets this on, he's going to do a quick check and then say, okay, I've got the dial on, but I got to make sure it isn't skewed one way or another. And then when he gets to the center hands, he'll probably do a rotation. I usually go and check. I put on my close loop and I check to make sure as it travels around the dial, it stays completely parallel. And then of course the parallel hands to each other. So this is why you have like a hand setting kit in terms of, so one of them, and quite often, just like in this diagram, there's 2 sides, although highly simplified. So this will go for this one. And then he's going to do a different set that is going to clear the post for the second hand, but it isn't going to push past the height of the minute wheel. And this means that you can put pressure down, but if you do a little bit more, we want to get it flush, you won't inadvertently press down and then jam all the hands together right down into the dial. So this is a protective sort of operation. And then usually with a dial setting set of tools or a hand setting set of tools, you would have just a blank one that you could just press down, and then it won't go past the top of the tip. So for the center hands for him here, he's going to use 3 different kinds of hand setting tools. And then this same one, since the second hand is going to be just like those subdial hands, he's going to do the same thing. He'll have just a one like this to press it down to the top, and then it's going to end up being height-wise at the top of that post, so to speak. So the other thing that happens these days is sometimes you end up having to take a hand off a couple of times. And these days, if you had a hand like this, it's a stamped piece. So here's our hand. There's a hole here, and they just stamp it out, and it kind of curves down just like that. So this is the value of having a staking kit if you have one. You can get a stake. I'll maybe pull it out and show the staking kit as Phil works away. And you can actually press down the staking kit, and you can reclose that hand a little bit. So if you press it down with this conical inside profile, you can push these together a little bit to help it. Modern hands are almost universally stamped. In the good old days, it was a machine part, and the boss that sat down here was actually, there was actually quite a bit more material, which was much less susceptible to this kind of distortion when you take them off.
Real quick.
Yeah, sorry, go.
I'm going to use something. Can you tell them what it is and why I'm using it?
Sure.
Look at the or the desk camera.
Oh, the dial protector. Yeah, so we're going to bring those in. It's got a slot in there so you can get it around. I just happen to have one right here. Go figure. And then we can slip that in with the posts, end up coming here, and then we're going to have some protection there. When you take hands off, quite often I put a dial protector on, and I also put a sheet of thin film over it that when I use the hand levers to pop them off, number one, I make sure the underside, I don't score or bother them at all. But sometimes they'll pop a little bit, and the film will prevent them from going across the room as well. So, here we go. Kale's got some other questions here. You ask as many questions as you want, man. Grail watch that is achievable and why. Oh my God, that's good. Okay. And also Kale saying, can we get the other view in the middle so we can see better? So
Sure.
can we get the bench cam back in the
Absolutely.
middle?
I'll tell you what, the only thing is it might not be so clear, but we will go ahead and do that for you guys. So check it out. There you go.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, it's a little bit better. So Grail watches is achievable and why. You know what? This is why people get together and talk about watches. This is not an easy question to answer. I mean, I don't know. It depends on what a Grail watch for you is. And like, because again, like I do like luxury or like vintage watches. And there's a lot of stuff that you can get in the $500 range in a vintage watch. I mean, it's a little bit different than when I started collecting many years ago. There were still great deals to be had, and some of them are gone. But you could still, there's a lot of stuff even under 100,000 or 1,000. Sorry. It depends on what you're looking for. Like these days, we'll have to talk about a Rolex a little bit because everybody knows about it and the models are there and we know the resale value and we kind of know the lay of the land there a little bit. But these days you're in Canada here in Canadian dollars, you're looking $15,000 and up. I think you can get an Oyster Perpetual these days for maybe you can do for 10 or 11. I don't know the exact price on those now, but for a reasonable entry level watch, I used to say 5,000 Canadian, but these days I think we're probably looking 7 or 8. I don't know. Is it achievable? It depends on what's, important to you, but I don't know, like what I don't have in my collection right now. And as I mentioned, I'm kind of partial to divers a little bit. I would like one of the orange face Doxa divers, and you can get those for about $2,000 US. And they've got lots of history, pedigree. It's a purpose built watch. It's its own thing with its own design language. The rotating bezel's its own thing. It's got an outer kind of like coarser link with an inner kind of beads of rice look. I mean, to me, like, it's like, that's an amazing watch. Like these days, like that would probably be, if I say like, what would give me the most joy for a reasonable amount of money, like around the 2,000 US mark for one of those orange face Doxa divers, I would take it. Like, I like it, so I don't know. I guess it depends on what brand speaks to you, and quite often we have like connections to people, places, and things on timepieces. So, if that for you has Grail worthy, like, I don't know. I think people get too worried about the flex,
A little bit. I would agree with you on that.
He's like, Grail for me is a piece that is out of reach, but what would make you so happy if you got it? Achievable because it's possible to get before you die. Like, $300,000 watch is not achievable for like all of us. Like there's a lot. If you had $300,000, probably a lot of the things you want to take care of in your life before you bought that amazing.
Fact, dude. Absolutely.
But all I think that, what, for a lifetime piece, I think that the nice thing on the lower end between 10 and 20,000 US, you're like, hey, you know what, I'm going to retire, or I've got a big birthday landmark, like 40 or 50 or 60, still there's some great stuff out there, but it's like anything. It's like cars or anything. You can spend whatever you want, but where's your enjoyment going to come from, and I think it's really to like a connection, to a place or a time that's meaningful to you. And I that's the best return on money, I think, for me.
I honestly, I can honestly say that's why I've tied Hurst Co heavily into motorsports and providing championship pieces, because that's a huge memory to somebody to win their first championship or win an event or something like that. And if I can tie a memory to that, that's really cool. And for me, that's my memory. Like I like the first 3 pieces that are coming off the line, I'm keeping those and keeping them in house, because those 3 watches are the memory of me starting all of this for all of you guys. So real quick, I'm moving on. I've just gone ahead and set that 24-hour hand. It's nice and lined up. It's nice and sturdy on its post. Now we're going to go ahead and set the hour hand, and I'm going to set the hour hand next because I do want to make sure that both of the 24-hour hand and the hour hand are perfectly lined dial north. So continue.
All right. So, I'll just ask it. What's my death watch? Okay. And I'm not even sure what they're worth right now, because there's like some chiming versions or whatever, like minute repeater versions of it. But the Lange Zeitwerk would be like oh my God, I love it. It's got that, like, it's analog, but it's got the digital time, right through the center. Like the Lange Zeitwerk would be that would be like, okay, it'd be crazy town, but it would be amazing. Like I would that. I got a comment on one thing. Phil there is using a glass cleaner pen. It looks like to like make a final touch up on a hand, which is a great option. You know, like that's I sell the.
And on the other tip of that, like there's this little brush to go ahead and dust things off as well. Like,
yeah, it's great. It's great. Anyway, yeah. So anyway, I just had to comment on that. So yeah, Kale's like, holy crap, one of my favorites. I know it's its own thing. You know, I love like a clarity of design language when you have like a watch, you know, which I think is probably the allure universally for a bunch of dive watches. But when somebody just completely nails the design from like, just like its effective purpose, you know, I go to mush over those, you know. So yeah, that would be my death watch for sure.
Stepping up to the hour hand tool. Well, actually, no. I'm just using the back side of the other one. Bigger hole.
Nice.
Bigger hole. And I'm doing this for you guys. Remember, guys, this is a giveaway watch for you. So one of you guys is going to win, or girls. or girls is going to win this watch. And I'm honestly super stoked to be able to give this to you. To be honest with you, I love doing this. I got into this because of the stories behind the timepieces. And Olga and I were both videographers and we shoot documentaries. And that's kind of how I really got into Formula One, and shooting that is because of wanting to shoot a documentary. And next thing I know, we're creating watches. Long story. I do this because I want to, where was I going? I completely lost my train of thought on that one.
I don't know, but you're setting hands, man. Set the hands.
Setting hands. All right, go ahead.
If you are wondering, so they use those hand setting tools usually come in a kit. This is a Horatech one. I just happen to have it just in reach, so I grabbed it. Is they usually come in sets of 3 or 4 that are double-sided, and these ones are color-coded. So that's what he's just checking there. When he says he's flipping it around, they have these color-coded ones, and that's what they look like. Although, again, also, I have my set right here. I don't remember where I got them, but I have them here, and they're like black, red, and gray. And these are the ones that I typically use, and it has a number of they're just different on each side, kind of thing, to set the hands. So that's what he's doing there. That's what he's doing there right now in terms of setting things up.
Tell him what I'm doing now.
Well, what are you doing now? What's happening? Oh, we can see we're checking for parallel. So I've got a loop up here for myself right now. I know Phil likes to have like the mobile thing. Again, maybe unconventional, but if it works, like, don't let it stop you from doing whatever you need to do. I do most work with a number 3 loop, which is the distance in inches, which is the focal length. And then when I do something like check, I like to have a number 2. So a number 2 is a higher magnification than number 3. It's maybe like 4.5 or 5 times. And this one, I think, sits at about 3.5 times magnification. They can vary a little bit depending on the loop manufacturer. But when you're looking at a loop and the loop number, it is the focal length in inches. So that's how far away you need to be from the object for it to be in focus, which is why some people ask, like, why am I so short? I have a 40-inch bench, and then I have an adjustable chair here that I then adjust, because when I work here, I've got my hands up like this, and then I would have the object right here, and I'd be working on the watch just like this, which is why we have such short focal lengths and why we have a high bench in terms of working.
Oh yeah, legit. Sometimes I'm sitting here like this, like when I raise the bench all the way up, and my chin is like literally sitting right here. I'm looking.
Yeah, it happens. I've been there where I got my head down here, my chin's on the front lip. I don't even rest it.
I love it though, man. I feel like such a nerd, but I'm just like, I'm really into this.
But it's a stored energy thing too. The reason why it's high is that you can rest your entire forearm, and then you can just manipulate key things with just your hands and wrist action. So again, we're not storing any energy to have something go fly across the room.
All right, guys, keep on going. I'm going to keep on boogieing on this. By the way, I just put the gasket in this little gasket moisturizer. What is it called? Gasket moisturizer?
No, it would be. It would be if you were like, I don't know, like moisturizing your face or whatever.
Mary Kay gasket moisturizer, bro.
That's hilarious. Oh my God, that's so funny. Well, I've got one here. Like there's various ones. Here's one. This is a Hortec one, the Luber box, and it's got silicone 7 in it. And yeah, you just relubricate the thing. So it's got a
silicone 7. Thank you very much. I didn't know what that was, what it actually was. So it's called silicone 7.
Silicone. You can buy. There's a whole bunch of different kinds of silicone greases that people recommend for gaskets. Mm-hmm. If you're gonna buy one, buy the silicone 7. You know, there might be very specific. Again, we're getting like really nitty gritty. Even when you get to the Mobius lubricants, people freak out. And you got to remember that Breguet was using like goose fat. You know, I mean, we've come a long way. Like, you got to there's a little bit of give. You know, it's always.
All right, speaking of Breguet, I just said Breguet.
How dare you?
Breguet is rolling over. He's like, "Did you just call me Breguet?"
Well, speaking of Breguet, speaking of baguettes. No, speaking of Breguet, my grail, traditional.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Got it.
That's my grail.
You know what?
Love it. I love it.
If you want to do well in a room with watch nerds, you will never go wrong with wearing a Breguet. Never. Nope. Never. You're good.
It's tradition. It's a lot of heritage. It's probably some of the oldest heritage, you know, like.
Yeah. That just makes it though, which is too bad sometimes through the watch world where it's like, how geeky or how smart can I look, or how hoity-toity can I look at this man? Phil, I've been in my mind trying to compose a YouTube video that's like how to act like a hoity-toity watch nerd at your watch meeting tonight, and then list a whole bunch of watch facts that you could just throw at people to make it sound like you know what you're talking about.
Here's one. Did you know that the first dive watch that Rolex built wasn't for Rolex?
Oh, I didn't know that.
It was for Panerai. The Navy asked Rolex, the designer, to design their first dive watch for their SEAL team or whatever it was.
Something there. Okay, I got one for you. Here we go. Watch nerd stuff. Since we have a chronograph going on right now, that the Rolex Daytona, the movement was originally made by Zenith, which was the now predecessor is in the El Primero for Zenith. They didn't even. That's one they did not make on their own.
And another thing, before it was the Daytona, it was called the Cosmograph because it was technically supposed to be the first watch to go into outer space, but it was not.
It failed, right? And then the Moon's watch. Oh, see, we're already getting
it was the Speedmaster. Uh-huh.
I love it.
And then they named it the Daytona for the race and all that other stuff, and it became a very race-worthy watch, right. Especially with
I love it and all that. I love it. That's great. Well, I mean, since we're talking about movements and Rolex, you know, the company Aigler was actually making the movements, and it wasn't until I think the early 2000s that actually they became owned or under the same umbrella ownership. Aigler was a separate company, and they had a handshake deal that they would make all their movements for Rolex, and Rolex would buy all of their movements from them. But it actually wasn't fully integrated truly corporately on paper until fairly recently as well.
Did not know that. Where's the little rainbow and star? The more you know. Dun, 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 dun.
I love it. It's like G.I. Joe. Wasn't it like knowing is half the battle or something?
Oh my God. I totally forgot that phrase. My gosh, bro.
What other dumb watch facts can we have? Okay, so we have to talk about the coaxial escapement in George Daniels. Then you could take this to your watch meet tonight.
All right, so this is where you're going to start getting a little bit nerdier than me because I don't know a whole dude. I literally just started this whole hobby. You know, I've been collecting and loving watches since I was, I don't know, like 8, 9, something like this. But like really getting into dissecting what watches are all about, I literally just broke it open about 2 years ago. You know, and I'm not the kind of I don't want to say snobby, but I'm not a watch snob to where I'm just like, where I know all the reference numbers and I just know.
I don't know all the reference numbers.
Right, I know. I'm not that person. But then there's like, reference this and this came out in this year and it was the predecessor to this and this person designed it. But then that's awesome. But I'm never going to remember that.
It's supposed to be fun too, right? So people come to my shop and they'd be upset about. I'm like, it's supposed to be fun. Like you're watching.
It's supposed to be fun. Like, all right, guys, I'm going to set this minute hand and shut up for a second. So
it's funny you're talking about Speedmasters and geeking out. I would definitely buy a Speedmaster. I like that like moonshine gold with the dark green dial. Like that would be another one out to Kale. That would be another like, oh, that could be a death watch. I love that watch. But what turns me off with the Speedmaster is there's so many variations. What's that?
What's a death watch that you guys are referring to? A death watch?
Well, we're just like if you're gonna have like one watch before you die, you know, like what's like if you had to pick one, what would it be? And I think that moonshine gold one would be it. But all of the minutia about like, oh, that's like a dot over 90 version on the tack, and there's so many different versions. I'm like, I can't. It's just too much for me. Well, there we go. We got it going. Looking good.
And right on the 12, 12 and 12 and 12 and 12, and down up to 6. Okay, give it one more spin, bring it up to the 12. Guys, this is we're rounding third. We're heading home.
Doing great. You're doing great.
All right.
You always wonder when someone else is watching, you know? Things can go sideways.
Guys, I'm sure. All right, so one thing that you need to build a watch, steady hands. What happens when you get nervous?
Yeah, you should. So I think, Phil, we talked about this when I knew I was gonna in the shop. It was like, say, I know it's Wednesday morning. I know I'm gonna walk in there, and I know I have a really difficult restoration. And you know, commercially, it's like you got to get in and do the work, right? I would lay out all like kind of have a plan the night before, and then when I walked in the morning, it would all be laid out, and I would limit myself to 1 cup of coffee, and I would do something that I thought would regulate my blood sugar. So I would do something like steel cut oats in the morning, 1 cup of coffee, and then that's it. And then I could make sure that I wasn't going to have like a sugar crash, and I wasn't going to like go peak on the caffeine, and then halfway through the morning like lose all concentration because I was down on like a caffeine crash as well. And that served me very, very well. And one
of my things I've noticed is I definitely can't do this on, I don't want to say an empty stomach, but if I haven't eaten well, because the nerves get jittery and just distracted. So yeah, like properly eating, proper nutrition, good sleep, good rest, clear your head, clean workspace. Absolutely. All really great points.
Feeling of calm, which we talked about earlier. If you're going to rush, it always goes bad.
You know what's really cool? My cousin Todd, he's a gunsmith. So he works
super closely related to watchmaking,
rifles and stuff like that. So, and I've recently talked him into starting a YouTube channel and kind of getting into it. So it's cool watching him like set up cameras and talk, like ask me about GoPro. He's like, hey man, how do I do this? And then I like geek out, like, well, first off, 60 frames per second if you want to do, you know, slow-mo.
So I might be able to potentially dazzle you with like extraneous watch facts, but the videography side for me, when I'm trying to, you know, I have more than a handful of comments on my YouTube channel where they're like, could you please, like have this in focus or whatever. And I'm just like,
learn some videography.
Watches. I'm not a videographer. I'm doing my best every time. Oh, I haven't had a chance to work on the more complicated complications, minute repeater, perpetual, whatever. So I don't do it full time anymore. I worked full time as a watchmaker previously, and it was for the most part it was a very meat and potatoes like practice. I got my doctor's jacket on. Like I was like, well, my practice was meat and potatoes. You know, it was just regular rashes. You know, or whatever. So I didn't see a lot of crazy stuff. I do have some friends in the business that see some crazy stuff. Part of the like from like the commercial watchmaking side as an independent, is that there's some restriction on parts, especially with some crazy stuff. And getting the technical information on some of those things is very difficult as well. So quite often, if it's a very complicated watch, again, like, you're talking about like, you know, minute repeaters or perpetual calendars, you know, it's usually best. They usually go back to the manufacturer. I mean, really, like, you know, it'd be different if I worked for Vacheron Constantin or something, or Patek or whatever, I would have come in contact, but I haven't worked for one of those people. So, so in terms of me, like nothing too crazy. I'm trying to think of some other noteworthy things that I did was sort of crazy. I did do a restoration on a woman's watch from like the 1890s that had a cylinder statement, you know, there were some harrowing moments with that. Even still, like one of my most watched YouTube videos is how to change the battery on a dual face quartz rotary watch, because it's got a face on both sides, a very specific order of operations. And in one situation in particular, a jeweler reached out for me and their resident watchmaker with a couple of clarifying questions, because they had seen the YouTube video. So there's no way they would have done it without having to see it first, you know? But it's one of those things where you have to understand as well is that in a commercial setting, you would typically have the complete parts breakdown, assembly order. You would have all of the requirements for like how much and what kind of lubricant would be used everywhere. It's those things where you're doing a historical restoration where you can't find or you can't get the technical information. And even like a technician at Rolex or Patek, like they are constantly trained. When a new caliber comes out, those people are specifically trained on how to do the movement. I have one sort of anecdote about somebody that actually worked for Patek in Switzerland, and there's a couple of Rolex Submariner references, and there's some Omega references where the center wheel comes through for the center seconds wheel, and there's a finger that's pressure put on it. And the Patek version, you would get the part out of the box, and if you gently bent it, create the correct tension on it, it would want to go back over time. So what you'd have to do is, they call it in metallurgy breaking the yield. So you would have to literally kink it, like you'd have to like make it go way past and then adjust it, and then it would stay into position if you didn't do it. But of course, you've got these young guys working at Patek, and they're like, I want to be careful with all these parts. I don't want to break anything. But they literally had to break the yield on this thing, and then basically force it out of shape, and then manipulate it so it could create the right amount of tension on that center wheel. And there's a bunch of old calibers that are like that. But that's where you start hearing about the lore about watchmakers talking to each other about like, hey, I can't get this tension right. I don't know what it is. That's like, are you being too gentle? You know, and oh, that's your problem. So anyway, there's tons of stuff like that. But me
real quick, guys, like and subscribe. Go.
Crazy complications for me personally, not that many. Like, not that I wouldn't say it like I haven't worked on a bunch of crazy complications. It's been pretty like, again, meat and potatoes, kind of like everyday work.
All right, guys. So right now I don't want to say it's a struggle, but it's setting the smallest, well, the second smallest in this movement, because the subdial hands are the smallest. But this one is really important because it actually needs to be pinpoint and stays pinpoint at exactly 12 o'clock most of the time, because not many people use a chronograph, unfortunately. So I've just set it on the post, and I've lined it up with directly at 12. Now I've got one of my smallest hand setting tools with the smallest opening. And I really don't use the opening portion of it. I kind of use the edge of it when it comes to that second hand, and just kind of put it in the center. Fight me. But no, it usually lands pretty well, and well, it always lands really well. And I have really good control over it when I do it. So, all right, guys, here we go. Let's set this on here.
We believe in you. Deep breaths.
I believe I can fly.
When you're playing drum.
Oh yeah, wrong job, guys. I'm also a drum pilot, so I'm often saying, I believe I can fly.
I love it.
Boom.
We're giving you your space and your peace right now.
Yeah, just for a second, guys. I appreciate it. But that hand is set, and now we're going to go ahead and start the chronograph. And check it out, guys. Here, go ahead and get them a little bit of... Here, I'll just show you right here. Can you guys see it pretty well?
As I lean in myself to see the work.
Oh, did you really?
I did. I'm leaning in right now.
It's going to be bad. There you go. There's a decent focus. But we got everything's moving. You guys see that chronograph hand?
That dial looks awesome.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Dial.
All right, so now we've only got one hand left to set, and that is the continuous second hand that's always going. Let's go ahead and get this movement stopped and snap back. I always love, that's such a satisfying to snap back on a chronograph. All right, let's get this last hand set. Now, I'm not too worried about setting this last second hand. Yes, I'm just worried about setting it right and setting it properly and securely. But lining it up with a specific location, not so much. because it's the second hand and it's always moving. So
yeah, especially on a little dial like that, it's not thing. It's not. If it was a center seconds, you have to have a thing because otherwise it doesn't line up to the markers in the center. But you're right on a sub.
oh yeah, there's that part. You want to make sure it's at least lined up with the markers. But
yeah, and that's an advantage about mechanical watches too. The finicky part is making sure the second hand is lined up with the markers. But on a mechanical watch, it's going to be 4 to 6 times a second anyway, and you don't line it up. It just ends up just going on there, and then it ends up being wherever it's going to be.
Oh, that's right. When you're talking about the vibrations and the frequency and how many times it vibrates of the what is it?
Yeah, like beats per hour.
The beats per, well, yeah, your beats per hour, but then you have so many oscillations or rhythms per second.
Yes, yes.
You know what I mean, right? Okay, and that's like comes down to like 28 mega or the hertz or some guys.
Oh, you're talking about well, you're talking for the quartz, that's for the quartz. That's
No, even when you're talking that automatic, they say like the Miyota is a 2800 or 28,000 frequency or something like that. Guys,
yeah, it'll be 28.8.
Yes, you know what I'm talking about. Yes.
Yeah, 28.8. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, that's right.
All right,
yeah.
So here we go. I'm setting this on now. So when I'm talking about the Miyota, guys, we're talking about an automatic movement. You got the Japanese automatic movement. You have the Miyota. You have the TMI, which is what Seiko uses, and like the NH34. The Miyota movement, they actually refer to that as a high beat because there's actually per second, there's 8 rhythms in that second of, so it's actually moving.
Second, whatever. Yeah, that is considered high beat. Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
which is actually pretty interesting. 4. I've actually had people say, "Hey, can I actually have the Miyota over the NH35 because they prefer that high beat?" And I'm like, "Oh, okay." I honestly prefer their NH35, NH34. I like those 2 movements. They're tanks for me. Miyota, it's weird. It winds backwards, or not winds. It sets the time opposite of Seiko, so it's just always been weird for me. But it's still a good movement. It's just more of a user preference. I just don't like winding my hands the other way, counterclockwise to move the hands clockwise. That makes no sense.
That makes no sense. Yeah.
All right, so here we go. We are setting this last second hand, and then we're almost done with this. We're just going to get it cased up, guys. This is the final portion of this. There she is. Boom. Second hand of beaten. Second hand of beaten.
It's a little bit bright.
Yeah, it's sorry guys, we're a little overexposed. I'm a rookie at this whole live streaming thing. I apologize. But now we are done with the setting of the hands, so I'm going to relax my shoulders a little bit.
Yeah.
And I'm going to lower this down. And I like to, when I'm casing it up and doing things over here, I like to be a little more over it. So, guys, we're literally like almost finished up here. Now we just got to go ahead and get this in a case and ready for you guys. So
does it have a weird on this particular movement? Does it have a weird stem release lever, or is it pretty self-evident? Some of them are, and some of them aren't.
It's actually just a little hole. It's pretty simple. Stick your pin tool in the hole. It says a little thing that says push here. Stick it in, push. But what you do want to make sure is that when you're pulling this stem out, that it is in the neutral position, not in the AKA if it was a winding position. You got to have
right. It's in the zero, what they call zero position, all the way
position. Zero position, correct. Yep. So
the ones that have a little dimple, I actually literally have a sewing pin in a pin vise, and I use that.
Do you really?
For other ones, I would use a probe like this, like the Bergeron 7010 polyamide probe to press it if it's large.
I actually use this little like pusher thingy that I got. It works just fine. Love it. So stick that in there and pull that out. Boop. Yeet. I yoinked it out. I gotta speak like a YouTuber. I just yoinked the crown and crown stem out of the movement. All right.
Nice.
All right. So now we're gonna go ahead and clean up this crystal. If you're gonna notice, I don't need to necessarily clean off the exterior of the crystal to make the interior clean, or do I? Yes, I do, because
you can't inspect it. You can't inspect it properly if it's not all clean inside and out.
My man, exactly. So what I do is I go ahead and I clean off the exterior of the crystal first, because I'm really picky about making sure like no dust, no nothing, no, just really super clean.
Yeah,
you have to be. And if it's an automatic movement, just the smallest piece of dust can quite literally work its way into your train of gears.
Yep. Even a metal quartz like that one, man, you do not.
Oh yeah, even with this, correct.
When I do crystal replacement for like a dial that's being replaced, before I put the new crystal in, I clean it within an inch of its life. It is completely clean. That's before I press it into the case, because then all I'm dealing with is the contamination that's happened from any pressing action on the outside or any other material that's coming from the installation process itself. And quite often when you get the crystals, they're not very clean. They can have a little bit of film on it. And if you chase that once it's already in there, it's terrible. Kodiak Edge is saying, well, hello, love your work. So there you go, Phil.
Boom. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. We love you. Appreciate it. Hey guys, everybody who's in here right now, everybody who's hanging out, seriously, thank you. This has been a dream of mine to hang out with you guys, show what I'm doing, share some of the knowledge, hang out with Colin. My wife's here doing some behind the scenes videography for us. So we're all just kind of hanging out and having a good time. And, I really I'm doing this because this community and the people like you guys and everybody out there, it's kind of what built me and helped me build what I'm doing. And, you guys have supported us, and, many of you have bought pieces from Time Panda. Soon you guys will be buying pieces from Hurst Co. But yeah, you guys have really helped build this. So I'm trying to give back, and that's why I'm giving this watch away. And that's why I invite people like Colin on to entertain you. So let's go ahead and keep on going. I don't even know where we're at on time right now. Oh, we're about an hour and 10 minutes. Yeah, we're good.
I have a question for you, Phil. You've made it look really easy encasing it there.
I'm awesome, but go ahead.
I don't know whether I'm sure you do check, but when people put these chronographs in, you have to make sure the pushers are pushed out and that the pushers aren't impeding the movement going into the case, because sometimes they can get bound up. And
so I've done this. I've done this in particular case so many times. I know exactly what you're talking about. That because I've
tricking everybody, because you're making it look super easy and they don't know.
Okay. Let me. All right, thank you. I'm letting you talk. I'm just working. We got a schedule to keep, man.
Kodiak says, love you guys, both your channels, whatever. So thanks for that. And then Tails like, how not to get killed by the wife when buying so many watches over time. Well,
you don't tell them.
Yeah, dude. When you get that figured out, please, you're gonna make a whole bunch of people in the watch world a lot happier.
Get another bank account. Get another bank account. No, I'm kidding. No. Tell them everything.
Honesty.
Honesty
is the key.
Honesty, yes. All right. So what he was mentioning, guys.
Buy one, the wife would say, "Oh, so you got one? That means you're gonna sell one, right?" And there's all these memes about that. And you're like, no. No,
what's funny, Colin,
only situation.
When I first started this, I told her, babe, just one watch.
Just one watch.
Yeah, he actually told me that just one watch. Maybe two, maybe like I'm gonna give some to my friends. That's it. But then
it was like, husband, don't tell. And then he's like, wife, oh my God, honestly.
Entire business.
Funny.
He's just like, when you both working, when you both oriented, it's good.
Everybody stop talking for 1 second, because when it comes to casing, I'm on a time schedule here, guys. Okay, right, I wipe and I'm like, all right, shut up so I can put it on there. But no, what he was mentioning,
so much fun, everybody.
What he was mentioning is right here in the case, as you can see over here on this side, we have the pushers. And if you can see, there's those little posts that are kind of in the way in there. This is really horrible. Let's show you over here.
Yeah, you could see it. It was not bad, Phil. You could see them sticking out.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So you have those little posts that are there we go.
Yeah.
Those little posts that are in the way right there.
Slide the movement in under those posts to get the dial through and all that kind
of stuff. So what I've learned is you actually kind of put the 3 o'clock side in first.
Yep.
And you get those posts underneath. Like sometimes I have a dial where the dial is a 30 millimeter. So there's overhang on the movement, and you actually need to slide those over the post and then snug it in. But this one, the movement is actually, the dial is smaller than the movement, so it slides in nice and easily. But I still perform that maneuver.
Right.
Maneuver.
See, look at that. Todd's saying, what's the different sizes you can get?
Of what?
I don't know. He's your cousin, man. I don't know.
Of a movement, of a dial. There's a whole bunch of many, but The newer style, 42 millimeter is the new big. I don't like going too much bigger than that in a watch.
Yep.
A new good style, a new good size for a male is also 36. A 36 size, a 36 millimeter male watch is not uncommon anymore.
And there's a lot
I
of
have,
38, 39 too. And some
yeah,
of those
I
are
actually have I actually have a 6.5 inch wrist. So this 40 millimeter sits well. A 36 sits well.
Todd
A
wants to know the
38 sits
dial.
well. What's that?
Todd wants to know the dial. Why besides the dial? I mean, the dial
This dial is a 28.9.
but it
I'm
depends on
sorry,
the size of the
28.5.
case. Yeah. And also, Phil, you've made it look really easy putting this watch together. But what people need to realize is that you need to have a movement that's going to fit in the case. You need a dial that's going to fit on the movement, right? And then like the height needs to be right for the pushers and for the crown and stem assembly to meet it. There's like a lot of stuff, things. Oh, Kodiak Edge is just saying, I just finished up serving a 1940s Bulova tank, 10K gold. Love it. Yeah, it's like, yeah, those are amazing, you know, especially if it hasn't been serviced in a long time. Where like you haven't had anybody like modern who doesn't know what they're doing mess with it. Probably the easiest services I ever did was watches from the 40s and 50s, and I could see multiple watchmaker marks in there. And then when I put it together,
love that.
I would mess with it, like, you know.
I love going in there and seeing their maker's mark and all that.
Yeah,
in there
yeah, that's cool.
or just a scratch signature.
Yes.
Anyway, real quick, now we actually need to cut the stem. So what I did after we set the movement in there, and like you were saying, the movement in case the case was actually made for specifically this movement, dial was actually made for this movement. So it was all pieced together to make it rather, I don't say easy to assemble, but just friendly, and they communicate with each other. But now when the movement comes in, it comes in with a stem. That stem is always too long because they allow you to possibly be able to put that movement into a bigger case, a smaller case. So they need to give you a little bit extra stem. But right now, my current scenario is not very cool because, as you can see right here, that stem is
a long way out.
Long way out. I can't imagine walking around with this. So what I need to do is I grab my little microns here and I measure this distance.
Now, is that a screw down crown, Phil, or is just
screw down crown? Correct. Now, what's funny, guys, is sometimes I have to do this maybe twice because I'll cut it long because you can't grow more.
You can always file it down a little bit.
You can always file it down if you need to. And actually, I file regardless, just to get those burrs off.
You have to, yeah, that's right. Kodiak Edge is saying that when he was working on this 1940s Bulova, that it had 3 makers marks in it. You know, when he checked it out, that's awesome.
Wow, that's cool.
He's also saying my wife bought me a 1004 Elgin Railroad watch for our anniversary today. You know,
dude.
Oh my god, that's awesome. And he goes, he lives next to Elgin, Illinois. That's amazing. 1904. That's so cool. There's such an amazing turn of the century American watchmaking history. People don't realize that. I think it's all Swiss. But people like Waltham and Elgin, they were the big makers. They were making great watches in great numbers. Oh, there you go. Nice.
What is it? South Bend? South Bend American Railroad watch.
Nice. Very cool.
All right. Very cool. I'll get back to work, guys. Sorry, I just wanted to go ahead
and
flex that for you real quick. It's probably one of my favorite pieces. And what's funny is on a quiet day, just sometimes sitting around the office and such, I'll just be sitting there writing some emails, responding to people. And every day I come in here and I wind that one and the other pocket watch I have sitting on my cabinets there. And I just sit there and I'll often just hear it ticking away in the background. I'm like, that's such a soothing sound.
Nice. So you end up just using some side cutters or whatever to cut the stem?
Yes, correct. But a small pair of side cutters because, you know, you can use a big set of dikes. But I have 2 sets, and these are the ones I'm actually going to use. So what I did is I've used the back end of this tool to go ahead and get the distance of the gap from where the crown meets that case. And then that go ahead and transposes over to the distance in the gap on right there. Then I'll just go ahead and set this right here, raise my desk up, break out a Sharpie, Nice little magnifying glass. And put a little mark right where I want to go ahead and cut that stem at.
Kodiak Edge is talking about what, Elgin was making 1.1 million pocket watches a year, probably by the turn of the century, 1890s, 1900s. Waltham was doing the same. And you know what? At the time, the Swiss watch industry in its entirety was not making that many per year. I think they weren't making any more than 800,000 or 900,000 totally for the entire country at the time. So people, I think they're surprised to find out what how mechanized the American watchmaking industry was. Amazing.
Oh God, I actually just watched something on this the other night when we were very mechanized, industrialized when it came to watchmaking, because what it took us to make 1,000 of, it would take them like a month, 2 months to make the same thing. We can do it in minutes, but they would take weeks.
Well, I had to say it. They have a saying in Switzerland. Have I told you this before, Phil? They always say it takes time to make time.
Oh yeah, and you know what? I agree, because I say that to my clients all the time. I've used that excuse numerous times. All right, guys, here I am. We've got some very, very heavy steel side cutters. You don't want to use anything small than that because this is a hardened steel. So now I'm going to cut this off. I leave a little bit of that marker on there because, like I said, we could always take more off. I'll clean it up later.
Find the piece later. And then what do you use to file that off? Do you have a couple of sets of files?
Yeah, I got a set of files right here, but I just keep one readily available. It's probably my most fine. I don't need to get too into it or anything like that. Just a flat file, nice round if I need to. But I've cut this down to the pliers right there, as you guys can see, and then I just do a couple little over the tops of it just to clean up any burrs. Another thing, don't do that directly over the movement you're currently working on. So that's probably a good little tip there, but we were over here.
I usually put mine in a pin vise. So I'll put it in a pin vise so it's secure. I don't have to worry about falling out of a set of pliers. And then away you go. And I do have a jeweler's block that I bring out sometimes, so I have it there and I can rest it, and then I can do it.
All right, and now I will typically go ahead and put a Loctite on here because you don't want this crown backing out. But right now I'm still at the point of where I am. I'm just going to see if it even fits and if I get the right kind of seating, as we'll call it.
It's awesome. Kodiak Edge, I'll say I bought my first eyeglass clip on because your video on it. Thanks, love it. So I've got my clip on right here. And for someone that wears reading glasses and has to, this is great. Otherwise,
I absolutely love the clip on.
Yeah, you're working so close and it can be difficult to manage. I've certainly gone through a couple of prescriptions and tried to manage through it. But yeah, the clip-on loops, it's amazing. They're not very available. Now I sell 2 different versions, and I have these clip-on loops available in 2, 2.5, and 3 in this version, which is fairly economical. I think they're about $20 or so. And then I've got Bergeon versions that I have in like every focal length from 1.5 all the way to 4 in like half increments there. You know what? Correct. He says I need to get a head wire to keep Kipsley off. They're not expensive. It's a less than a $10 item. And like, here's one. I got one here. So they're like, yeah, for sure. Anybody that tells me I have a loop and they try to jam it in their eye socket, like if you're gonna do it, and I actually had something they said that they fell out of their eye while they're working and then hit the movement, and they ended up bunging up the hairspring. So it's like, just get a wire. Like they're not.
Hey, what do you think about that cyber loop from IWC?
Oh my God. God. That was so bad.
Yeah, they're not for the market, unfortunately.
Yeah. I think they're about 5,000 US.
You can't buy them though.
No, you can buy them.
The cyber loop, the new one,
the one that goes on with the camera with the ring all built on it. The
one that IWC is doing all this stuff with. They actually released it.
I don't know whether that's there. I don't think they made that themselves, but
no, they teamed up with somebody to go ahead and do it. But the Cyberloop 3.0 or 2.0 when it first came out, it was proprietary to only IWC.
No, it's there's either clones or whatever, and Swiss made. I'm sure I have I sure I have at least one supplier in Switzerland that I can get that.
Dude, we need to
100%.
talk.
Yeah,
Because that would be great for the videos.
Yeah. If it's being made in Switzerland at this point, I have access to import it.
I love that about you.
Pretty much, yeah.
So let's talk about tools. Why Horatech? Why not Bergeon? What's your take? Hot take or not? I don't care. Just let me hear it.
Oh, okay. So I think number one, Bergeon is amazing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that you have to look at it. I think it's like anything. It's like, let's say it's like a car or something. And someone's like, I love this kind of car, not this kind of car. Both of them have advantages and disadvantages, and both Horatech and Bergeon, I think, individually do some amazing things.
Mm-hmm.
Like we talked about this 7250, Horatech doesn't have one like this. And for me, commercially doing like bracelet sizing, you can't beat that. I have a similar machine from Horatech that does basically the same thing, but doesn't do it nearly as eloquently, right? So I prefer Bergeon or Horatech screwdrivers. So I have like their top of the line. They feel good in my hand. And I think that some of the Bergeon screwdrivers, like they have like some of their plastic coated or whatever. I think you could do better for money in some of the Horatech sets. However, if you have a situation where like you're really going for it, like again, we're starting getting up into like that close to $1,000 for a set of screwdrivers.
Seriously?
The Bergeon top of the line set that has an all steel body similar to this, they have options for expansion rings on here, similar to these ones here, for added torque and control. So
you told me about this.
A barrel. Bergeon has versions where you can slide a ring over. They call them their Torx versions, where you can set the amount of torque that you apply to the screw head when you do it. And some high-end watches, you need to do that with. You're talking about watches with complications and all that kind of stuff. Then that is, you'd like.
They say these
Bergeon stuff.
They say watches are very similar to cars. And if I'm not mistaken, most cars have torque specs on their engines. So, why am I not surprised?
Yeah. So, I think you can buy them anywhere from 10 Newton meters all the way up to 30 Newton meters, and it's a slide on, and it's amazing. It's amazing.
Hey guys, guess what? Guess what, Colin? Guess what?
What?
Loctite time.
Loctite time. Nice.
Finalized. Guys, we are definitely rounding. We're like halfway home.
What version do you use for that? I end up to set crowns. I use 638 Loctite.
This one. Medium strength thread lock.
Yeah, that'll do. I think this is retaining compound. And then if I'm doing screws into pins where I want it to just hold, I use, because everybody asked this after. Oh, now I gotta find it. Here we go. We got all these drawers filled with stuff. The 222, which is fairly light.
Got it. Now, guys, when you're putting this stuff on, you don't want to really cake it on there. Really, all you need to do is just a little bit to get on the threads, because basically you just don't want this crown backing out. It's not the end of the day. You can easily get it back. Not easily. You have to open it back up. It's easy for me to get back out. But you do want this crown to go ahead and set, and it's just enough to go ahead and secure it onto those threads, make it nice and snug, and then go ahead and wipe any excess off, so this way it doesn't get into movement and seize that up. But like I said, guys, we are literally on the home stretch. We're about ready to close this mamma jamma up. Man, tired.
You've done well.
Thank you. There we go. All right. So now that that's done, that's good. It's all set. Now we're just going to go ahead and close her up. So like I said, we've already got the gasket.
Already greased up that lubricant or that.
my gasket moisturizer.
That's awesome.
Hey man, whatever, it worked. All right, so we're going to go ahead and set this back in here.
Yeah, Kale said I could buy a watch for that screwdriver. Laugh aloud. Yeah, it is pretty brutal. So to buy that Torx thing, okay, I always know the Canadian prices, whatever, but to buy one of those Torque rings, just the ring, not the screwdriver, one, they're $540 Canadian each.
Dude, that's like twice the price of my entire set.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Good God.
And Codex is saying, sick of ordering a single crystal at a time. Last night I bought as many random variety packs I could. a low cost, over 300 crystal varieties coming in. Yeah, you know what? If you're doing it a lot, what I would do when I was doing crystal replacements, I would buy what I thought it was, because sometimes I didn't want to press out the crystal right away. And then I would end up having to buy like an increment above and below. So I buy minimum of 3 crystals for 1 crystal. And now I just buy like the things that I have on the website too. Here's an example of a 1.5. And then it's every increment from, this one's from 27.9 mils all the way up to 36, no, up all the way to 40.0. No, it goes, I lied. It's 24.1 mil all the way up to 40 mil. And then, yeah, you don't hunt around. You just have everything there for you, because otherwise it's just you hunt around. It's just like, oh, you know, it's not worth it after a time. Anyway, I have those kits in like 1.5 in one millimeter thickness, 1.5, 2, 2.5, and 3 millimeter thicknesses. Anyway,
Remind me to talk to you about an idea that I have with your Hortex screwdriver set. I'll chat with you about it tomorrow offline, guys. It's for you guys. We'll try and figure something out. I'm trying to hook you guys up. We'll be talking, Colin. We'll be talking.
Yeah, Kodiak Edge is going, yeah, one bigger, one small. I found that out quick. Yeah, in the early days, me too. You're just like, oh man, it's like I'm a 1/10 of a millimeter off. Really? You know? And then I remember earlier on, I tried to put one that was a little bit too tight, and I had it on the bench, and literally I knew it was too tight. And then I was literally on the bench, and I went crack, and it literally cracked inside the watch. I was like, oh man, right. Yeah. But you know what? You got to listen to your intuition, right? Sometimes it's hard to like just pay attention to what you know isn't right.
Guess what, guys? Guess what?
There we go. Is it all together?
Hold on a second. Guess what? 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 Hold on. The bench. This one? No. Switch it. Boom. Drum roll. You ready? Here we go. Hold on. You got all right. So if you take photos, or if
I was gonna do a drum roll, but I'm not doing it with my fancy screwdrivers. I refuse.
No, don't do that. No, get some pegwood, bro.
Yeah, pegwood. Okay, here you go.
No, but if you're a photographer, if you're shooting camera, or if you're shooting cameras, if you're shooting watches, be sure to set the time to 10:10, because it just looks awesome when you're done. How about that?
You gotta go closer than that. You need to do a better close up. You're robbing us of the joy.
Oh, hold on, you ready? Hold on.
There we go. Yeah, it looks awesome.
There she is, boys and girls.
Well done.
All right, that's it, guys. That is it. Time.
An hour and a half.
All right, so if I hadn't dilly-dallied so much here at the beginning and hanging out with you guys and talking, now don't get me wrong, I love it, but I do want to make sure I stay focused on these builds for you guys. And, you know, that's why I like having Colin here, because I can build. Colin is very knowledgeable. We can actually give you guys some entertainment, a little bit of banter back and forth. We got some great angles with Olya. Like, make sure we go ahead and follow Colin. Go ahead and follow
first of all,
Olya.
Phil, stop. How does everybody find you? What's all your stuff? You got to tell everybody what your.
Oh God, you guys got a minute?
Okay, the important ones.
You can find us. You can find us on Hurst Co. HURST, the letter NCO on Instagram. You can find us on hurstandco.com. And if you want to enter the giveaway called the Paddock Giveaway, go ahead and hurstandco.com/giveaway. You can find us on YouTube right here at the Dial 24. You can find Colin. Colin, go ahead and throw your stuff. Let's go ahead and make you big. And
big. Oh my God, I'm taking over the whole thing. So if you're interested in watchmaking equipment and supplies, watchoffthecuff.com. From there, there's blog posts that have all the stuff on the YouTube watch channel. So at Watch Off the Cuff, just look it up for YouTube. And if anyone has any questions about this stuff, I encourage people to email me. You can email me at colin@watchoffthecuff.com. Happy to answer any questions you have and try to help you on your journey in any way you possibly can.
He's a really great guy. He's been with me since I kind of started this, because there's another group called the Watch Hangout. Really great group. If you feel like heading on over there at some point, head on over there. It's called the Watch Hangout, also on YouTube. Great group of individuals. They go live. They sit kind of like this, and they all just talk watches for 2 hours, run some other events, great group of dudes. But that's kind of where I met. That's kind of how you and I got involved, and I think I stumbled upon something that you were doing, and I invited you to do something similar to what we're doing tonight.
Yeah,
right
the
now,
watch
on
hangout, which we
Hangout.
did. Yeah, and then the
that was our
diagrams
first
were
one.
born. That's how it all happened.
That's where the diagram guy was born and everything. So, guys, that's really it. I know my desk is a mess right now, and normally I would have cleaned as I went along, but I realized I was running out of time for you guys. And I know you guys probably, it's Sunday night, you want to get home or you want to get ready to relax, unwind. Well, I hope this has been nice and relaxing for you guys. I hope you've enjoyed Colin and I kind of hanging out. Be sure to go ahead and like and subscribe. Get in on both of the giveaways. We've got the Paddock giveaway going on, and we've also got the Dial 24 giveaway going on, where you can go ahead and win this watch. Just go ahead, like, subscribe, tag me, tag a friend, follow all the channels, follow Colin. Not required, but might as well make it a requirement. If you don't follow Colin, you are not getting this watch. He's going to let me know. No, I'm kidding. I'm not going to do that. That's
Phil, Kodiak Andrew saying, hey, he's like links in your description. So hopefully we can put a couple of links in there so people can find us easily.
Yeah, I've got links in the description of this, if I'm not mistaken. All of them are in there. And also links in the description of this actual individual YouTube channel. And I will go ahead and add Colin's links on the description as well. So this way you can easily find Colin. And I'll throw some more links on there. So keep on checking back to this. Go ahead, Colin.
And then one last thing, at Kodiak_Edge, he says he's live tomorrow night. So he's got something going on. Okay. I don't know whether he wanted to like send you a message or whatever, and then people can.
Hey, please do.
He says he makes watches and knives. So anyway,
dude, brother, man, can we collaborate? Because I love watching knives get made on.
Oh my God,
Forged in Fire. God, I fall asleep to Forged in Fire. I'm not gonna lie, I love it. I know it's not like real knife making, and it's just TV, but it's cool. And metallurgy and anybody who
hopefully
forges.
He'll really send the link to you and whatever, and we can get that in the description. So
awesome. Well, hey guys, we're gonna wrap this up. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us. Oh, yeah, thank you so much for getting some of this BTS stuff with us. Guys, I really hope you enjoy the watch. This will be sent out to you as a full kit. We've got here, check it out. This is what comes in a full kit. I don't slack. I don't just send a watch in a little cardboard box. No.
While you're grabbing that, Kodiak_Edge says, I'm making something tomorrow night, and he's doing a giveaway too. Anyway, so show us the box, Phil.
I would love to join. I'm going to definitely come and watch you. For sure. But yeah. So we got check this out. We got cards.
Nice.
Yeah, and check, hold on. Listen to the card. Listen to it. Ooh. It's metal. It's aluminium. Wow. And then we've got a pouch comes for it. And you also get a leather strap as well as the bracelet. So I send the full kit. Includes shipping. You're just getting the watch. I'm not going to say, no, you got to pay for shipping. No, you're just getting the watch. We want to give it to you. That just you hung out with us. That means amazing. A lot. And hopefully you subscribe to the channel. But that's all I got, Colin.
All right. I think that's a wrap, man. It's almost an hour and 40 minutes. We're good.
Guys,
thank you. Thanks
for have a great night. I love you all so much, and I'll see you. I'll let you guys know. But Colin, thanks again, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.